Torah portion, Mishpatim, lots of civil, criminal law. So we continue the second part from today. Okay. So we continue with Kiyaki Ish is Ein Avdai, when a person will hit his servant in his eye, his Ein Amasai, or his maidservant, Chascha, and ruins. He will be set free. In other words, if you do something that hurts in this, like he lost vision, so that's reason to set him free. You got to treat your servant properly. Rashi in 26. As Ein Avdei, the eye of a slave, Kanani, is speaking of a Canaanite slave, of a liberty Ein Yotze, is Shein Ba'ayin. But a Hebrew servant doesn't go out free with the loss of a tooth or of an eye. Amru Eitzel, let's say it's this was earlier, in yesterday's teachings, we had this, right? Why is that? There isn't given a why. So even though there might be a explanation or whatever, but it's not unless it's from the verse inherent, then it's not inherent explanation. Maybe it, you know. And, but in any case, so it's clear from the verses that the Hebrew slave doesn't go out with that, but the non-Jewish, the Canaanite slave does. Tachasena, in return for his eye, likewise, it's not just an eye, that's an example. All 24 limbs, tips of limbs, his voice, yadayim, raglayim, whether his fingers or his hands or feet, she'ezayim, 2 ears, achaitim, the nose, reshagvia, shugidama, the male organ, any loss or damage. So why tooth and an eye? Because if it would have said, and why both of them? Why did the Torah have to mention both? Because if it would have said an eye alone and not say the tooth, then I would conclude that it only applies to an eye, an organ like an eye. But, right. I would have to say, ma ayin shenivra imay, that an eye that was born with him at birth, right? So with that, you go out. But if it was like a tooth that's not born with him, a tooth is not, it wasn't created with him, it only grew in. So I wouldn't know that if the verse didn't say that. So therefore it had to say tooth. Now, what if it only said tooth? The opposite, right? So let's just say tooth then. But if it would only say tooth, so the fact that the Torah is exclusively saying only tooth, but and it didn't say eye, then I might say, that maybe the baby tooth also, because there's replacement if it was knocked out. And that's why it says an eye, meaning that there's no replacement. So baby teeth are not included, in other words. That's the point. 27. And if it's a tooth of the servant, or the female servant will fall out, will be knocked out by the master, then he's sent free. Okay, now we go into laws of your animal damaging. Here was the animal damage of a servant. Now is an animal that they do damage, right? Kigach shor is ish. So if an ox gores a person, or a isha or a woman, a man or a woman, v'meisen, they were killed. Saki Yuko says, oh, sure. So then the ox is executed, stoned. And you can't eat from its meat, and then the owner of the bull is acquitted. Rashi Kigal Shor. So an ox is going to gore. So it doesn't mean only um, an ox, but any kind of animal that will, right? But the Torah is only speaking in the most usual occurrence, and that would be an ox. So you're not allowed to eat its meat. The implication is that since it says that the ox will be sown in the Yadeshu and the Vela, so it's going to be stoned. So obviously, you can't eat the meat because it wasn't slaughtered; it was stoned. But and when a dead animal is forbidden to eat because it needs to be slaughtered to be kosher. So why does it say that you can't eat its meat? So the Torah has come to teach us, right, that the flesh may not be eaten. Because let's say you slaughtered it properly after it's been sentenced to kill. It's forbidden to eat it. Talmud Leimer that the owner is the ox is innocent. Yatsa Pliny Venakim in the Chosov, they went out clean from his possession. In the Bahem Hanas Shel Klum Zemidrashe. Aha. So let me explain over here. So let's say you've slaughtered the animal before it was stoned, kosher slaughtered, so you can't have pleasure from it, right? You're not allowed to eat it. How do you know that you can't have any pleasure from it? Like let's say from the hide afterwards, right? Use the hide. You're not allowed to. Why? Because it says that the owner will be acquitted. What do you mean he'll be acquitted? So he says it like a person says, not acquitted, but I was cleaned out. The word naki means clean. So we would translate as acquitted, right? But means clean. It means and my ox cleaned me out, meaning I don't even have the pleasure of because he gored and killed somebody. He cleaned me out, meaning I have nothing from him. Can't even use the hide. That's what the term. But Rashi says that's the medrash. That's not the simple meaning. Then he says the simple interpretation is the way it sounds. Because it's speaking about a mud that killed a Nemet Gam Baal of Yumas, also the owner will die. About the Tam, Baal Sharnaki, that the owner of the ox is innocent. So this is speaking about a Tam. We learned this in Rambam, that a Tam means a regular ox is not normal for them to gore and kill somebody. It's very abnormal. So therefore, the owner of the ox, he is clean. He is acquitted. It's not a normal thing that he should be protection. But if the animal had already done it 3 times, had gored, and this is the 3rd person he killed, right? You're not clean. You have some responsibility here. You should have guarded your animal. Right? So elsewhere, when it speaks about in another place that he's not acquitted, he's not acquitted means he bears responsibility. He has to pay. there's I forget now what the law is. He bears some responsibility. In this instance, he's acquitted because it was a freak thing that the ox killed a person, right? 29. V'im shor nagachu mit. Oh, now he's going into. If that's the proof that the previous one was not a um, it was not, it was a freak thing that the ox did, killing a person, right? But now we're going into that it's not be'im. If, however, we're talking about a shore that a bull, nagahu, who's a goring bull, miltmol shil shine from from the day before yesterday, and he was warned. The owner was warned. Hey, you got a goring ox over here, and he did not guard his ox. Then the ox went out and killed a man or a isha or a woman. Asher yisakil, the gambal of yumas. So the bull it will be stoned, same way as if it was even the first time, right? And its owner will be put to death. What does it mean put to death? We'll see. Right. Let's see what those words mean. Let's see Rashi. Midmol Shilsham from yesterday, from the yesterday and the day before yesterday. So it means 3 times goring. In other words, from the day before yesterday. So it's already this is the 3rd time. 3 days. And he was warned, the owner was warned, meaning there were witnesses that warned him. Oh, we're learning Rambam, witnesses, right? He was warned, so he's fully aware, and he should have guarded his ox. Ish, and you had to kill the man. Since it says when an ox will gore, I only know that it was goring. How do I know that if the ox killed through biting or pushing or crushing or kicking, right? What if it kicked the person and the person was kicked him in the head? So it says and he killed, meaning anything that the ox does, it's killing, right? So it's not specific to goring. That was just, the most normal way that an ox would kill. The Gambal of Yuma, since the owner shall die, what does it mean? Shall die b'dei shemayim, from heaven. Yochel b'dei adam. You might think that it'd be put to head by the hands of man, meaning through a court of law. Talmud Leimar, but the Torah says others. You must hamakir yachu. The one who shall die, he is a murderer. And you kill a person for the act of murder that they killed somebody, right? But not on the act of his ox. So it doesn't mean literally he's killed. It means he will be killed by the hands of heaven, right? Not by a court. And if an atonement fine is imposed upon him, and us and and he will pay his redeeming of his soul, all that it was the court put on him. Rashi in 30 in Kaifer Yushasalav, an atonement is imposed upon him. The im over here does mean conditional. It means when you will lend. So here means when you place upon him an atonement by payment. Lashon asher, and here the word asher means when. Allah based in Kaifer. So the verse is saying that this This is his judgment that the court shall assess ransom against him. And also, Pidyon Nafsha, and he shall give a redemption of his soul. The main nezek, the value of a victim as a slave. Diver Rabbi Ishmael. Rabbi Akiva Omer. The main mazik. It says the value of the owner of the ox that did the damage. So there's a debate over here. What does he have to pay? The value of the victim that was killed, or the value of the the value of the owner that is the owner of the ox that the damage was done. Not exactly clear what the difference would be, but whatever. Two different opinions. What it means, the amount that he has to pay, right? So that's an amount he pays to be atoned. Oy ben yigach, or the ox killed a child, a son or a daughter, or a bas or a daughter, yiga. Mishpat hazeh yasaloi. According to this law, you do. Ben yiga ben shu katan, meaning is a minor, or bas she katana, or that she's a minor. Because in the previous verse it said a man or a woman were gored, right? You might think that the owner of the ox, is only liable when adults are gored. But now comes the verse and says, so this verse comes to add that the owner of the ox is liable, just the same for children as for adults. Children. So interesting. It could have just said children and didn't have, and then you would learn from there adults seemingly. Maybe not. Maybe the Talmud deals with that. Okay. Im evet yiga chashor. So now, if he kills this a slave or ama, man or woman, keser shoshim shkolim yitin la'adayna v'ashor yisokil. So the ox gets stoned in the same way. And here the owner gets 30 shkolim. This is a decree of the verse, right? Whether the servant, the slave, was worth 1,000 or worth, one, whatever it is, it's the same amount, right? Because previously in different things we made a distinction, the value that the person would be worth, the woman may be worth pregnant and not pregnant, right? Hashekel mishkal levarba zuhuvim sheim chetzi ankiya lemishkal hayasher shekulani. Interesting why Rashi speaks here, but the weight of the shekel is 4 golden dinars, or half an ounce according to the standard weight of Colonia, I guess in Italy. Cologne, I think. Okay. Okay. Now we go into a a pit in the public domain, right? That when a man will open up a bore, a pit, or yichra, or he will dig, yishbor a man a pit. He doesn't cover it. And a donkey, or an ox or a donkey fell there, right? Rashi doesn't say what happened to the animal. Well, let's see. Okay. So we're 32, 33 rather. Yeah, when a man will dig, laman why does it have to say that he dug? If he uncovered, right, then all the more so if he dug. Isn't it all the more so? If all you did was open up the manhole, you're obligated. Then obviously, if you dug the manhole, for sure you're obligated. But this is to include the one who digs the pit deeper after someone else digs it, to say that the last one is liable. I think that's only if the first one didn't dig it deep enough. Let's say the first one only dug it 9 tefachim. This is a tefach, right? So that's not deep. That's not deep enough to be liable. And the second one only dug it 1 tefach, but made it from 9 to 10. That person's liable. And he didn't cover it. But if he did cover it, then he'd be exempt from paying any damages, right? We're speaking about a pit that was dug or opened in the public domain. Shor or chamor, ox or donkey, who that means any kind of animal, right? Because wherever it says an ox and a donkey, I say shor is Shabbos. So we understand that it's the same ox that we speak about on Shabbos, because there it also says your ox and your donkey shall rest on Shabbos. Does it mean just your ox and donkey should rest on Shabbos? No, it means any animal, right? Because it says elsewhere, how do we know? Because in another place it does say every animal, all of your animals that have to rest on Shabbos, right? So therefore, we know when it says an ox and a donkey, it doesn't mean ox and donkey only. It means anything, any animal like them. So then why does it specify? Just say behemtecha. Just say all your animals, right? Why pinpoint two of the animals, right? So that the reason is because you're obligated if you injure the shor v'chamor, shor v'lo adam, and not a person, chamor v'lo kelim, and not utensils. Because if there's a pit open in the public domain, a manhole or whatever, a person has to be responsible for himself. He should look down and see that there's a pit there and not fall in, right? Likewise, utensils are in the care of somebody. So an animal, we don't expect that it's going to be careful, right? But a human has to be careful, and therefore the utensils that a human is carrying, also if he was careful, he wouldn't have fallen in. So the digger or the one who opened up the manhole is not responsible. Interesting. Again, shouldn't do it, but be careful, but not held responsible Fascinating. Look at the idea of what it means responsibility. A guy dug a pit. Now, I'm not certain that that would be like a car that you're driving because I don't know if you could necessarily see a big pothole, right? And the city, has responsibility because not necessarily that's something. I don't know that'd be interesting. I mean, the city does hold some kind of responsibility. Anyway, that was a received at Sinai, right? That ox means an ox and not a human. Donkey means a donkey and not, right? There's an exclusion. It's there for an exclusion and not utensils that humans go with, right? So the damage that's done, not responsible. You got to be careful where you go. That's the kind of responsibility you have to have. Fascinating. 34. All right. Yeah. Oops. Balaboy Yishalom Kesed. So the one who's responsible for making the pit, he must he has to pay money, Yoshiv Balav, and restore it to the owner, Hamesi Alo, and the carcass will remain the owner's property, the owner of the pit, the own, yeah, the owner of the pit. Let's see. Now we're talking about the ox and the donkey that were killed, right? They died because of the pit. So you got to make restitution. Rashi, Balabor, Balatekola, the one who made the obstacle, even though the pit's not his, he's called, it's a funny term it's used. He's the master of the pit, the owner of the pit. How's the owner of a pit? How do you own a pit if you made a pit in the middle of the street? You dug a pit in the middle of the public domain, right? It's not yours. So Rashi says, also calls it the Ischayev Allah bin Nizakov. So Torah is making you the owner insofar that you're liable for damages. You're not really the owner of the pit. It's public property. But as your owner, in as much as you have to pay. Yoshi the love, and he shall return the money to its owner. Yoshiv Shava Kesef Afilo Subin. He shall return includes the worth of the money, even bran. So it's superfluous to say Yashiv, he shall return, because it says give the money. Well, you have to say return. You have to make compensation. You have to return compensation. Make So one need not return money. And he said return. So you could pay him in bran, monetary value. Bamesi aloi lanizik to the damaged party, right? Yeah. So the one who owns the ox or the donkey, he gets the dead animal because there's a value in a dead animal. You can have the the skin. So he's getting the animal, and we evaluate the carcass, and that's part of the payment. And then damaging party pays the value remaining for the damage. Okay, that's by a muad. In other words, that this was a goring ox. That this was the third time, or no, did 3 times already. Yeah, goring ox means, yeah, right. It's already done it 3 times. Now we're going to go into the first time. So you have to pay full price if it's, that's the goring ox, or, whatever other kind of damage that it did. And it's already a muad. 35, ki yigoif shor ish, when a bull is going to yigoif. It's going to push, thrust, put, like throw itself on a person. It's a shor ehu v'meis. So, 1 second. Previous. Sorry. We're going back now to the animal that before we were speaking about the pit, right? The animal died in the pit. Now we're speaking about the bull, the ox that's attacking a person, the mace, right? Sorry, sure is sure. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, an ox killed another ox, right? A machre is a shore. So you sell the chai, the living ox, the chetz is kasbay, and you divide the proceeds, and also you divide the value of the carcass. So here we're dividing. It's only half. Why? Let's see Rashi. Ki yigaif, when a man's ox will push yitchaf, ben bekarna, whether with his horns, ben begufa, whether his body, ben beragim, with his feet, ben shenoshcha, ben shinav, whether he bites him with his teeth, kulam b'chal negifa him. They're all in the category of what we call negifa, this kind of push. Sheni gifa elash and makim. The word negifa means a blow. It gives a blow. Shor ish, a man's ox. Shor shel ish, it means a ox of a person. Malchus a shor. So the living ox, you have to sell it. Bishovim akosim medaber. Discussing equals over here. Shor shava masayim, shemi shor shava masayim. So we're talking here about an ox. It's worth 200. Killed an ox. It's worth 200. Right? Now, whether the carcass is worth a lot, or whether the carcass is worth a little, when the one who was damaged, he takes half of the value of the live one and half of the dead one. So the one that his animal died, he's only getting half value. And the one who is paying, because his ox did the damage to another ox that killed it, is only paying half. Right? So this teaching us, we're talking about here, not an animal that has been proven to be in the category of a muad, meaning that they're set to do this kind of damage. They've done it 3 times, so they're a damaging animal, right? Then you pay full price. But if it's the first time that it was done, second time, whatever, right? It's not yet. It's what we call a tam. You only pay half damages. Shavim 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 Lama Shein Shavim. Okay. Amar Kotzebue Lashon. I said, why does Torah speak in this kind of language? Lo Yomar Yishalem Chetze. Like it's saying, take half of the live one and half of the dead one, right? That's what the one who was damaged. How? So why don't you just say pay half payment? Just say that. This is to tell us that in a case where the animal is not, isn't its nature to act this way, right? That you, right? In other words, didn't do it 3 times, so it's not a goring ox. Then you only pay from the body of the animal. Meaning, if the animal that did the goring was worth very little, so you can only take half of that very little. For the one who did the damage, for that can only claim half of the value of the goring of the non-goring ox. Okay. Uh, so let me see that one, and that was the idea of it. Okay. Or it's known that this is a goring ox, right? Mitmol shil shoim from already previous occasions, meaning from 3 days ago, and the owner is not guarding him properly. Shalom yishalom, he shall pay. Shor tachashor, an ox for an ox, v'ametzi aloi. The carcass remains the owner's property. Right. Similar to what we had previously by the pit, right? But here it's full payment. Rashi in 36. It was known, or if he was not a tam, but rather it's known that he's a goring ox. Today and yesterday and the day before yesterday. Meaning 3 times he gored. Right, that's the language of yesterday and the day before. Yes, I mean it's a terminology hayoim today, and yesterday from yesterday. Right, so funny language, right? Why? To tell us 3 days in a row. That's what he did. If you remember, we had this in the laws of damages when we learned in Rambam, the details in this. Yeah. Shalom short, so you should surely pay an ox, Nezek Shalom, full damage. And the body of the dead carcass shall be to the Nizik, to the victim, meaning to the one who the damages were done to. Allah Yashlim Hamazik. The damaged party shall compensate above it by paying, from any other assets that the person has. Until you pay the entire damage. In other words, the owner of the ox gets his ox back. That's a certain value. Let's say it's worth now 20, and it was worth 100 before. So now the owner of the goring ox, he has to make and pay the rest of the 80 to make a total 100. Okay. Ki ignoivi shor, when a person will steal an ox or a sheep, and then he slaughters it, or machray, or he sells it, chamisha v'kar yishalem tachas shor ba'arba tzayin tachas. So he has to pay 5 times the value of what he stole. In this instance, he stole it and slaughtered it or sold it, right? One of the two. So he's a thief, but he doesn't pay just, by a Gazlan pays double, but here this thief is paying 4 or 5 times. 5 times if he stole an ox, right? And 4 times if he stole a sheep. Rashi picks up, well, why is it 5 times for an ox, for cattle, and 4 times for sheep? So he quotes from the Talmud from Rabbi Yechanan, from the Amar Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, he said, God has pity on people's dignity. Sure, an ox that walks on its own feet, the thief was not humiliated. By carrying it, by having to carry it on his shoulders. Shalom Chamisha. But for a sheep which he carries on his shoulders, Mishalim Arba, he pays 4 hoil ben his bazah because he was humiliated. An ox you can't carry on your shoulders, right? So when you stole it, you walked with it. So you have to pay 5 because you didn't get any embarrassment. The sheep, you only pay 4 times the value. Why? Because you carried it on your shoulders, and that's embarrassing. Imagine Torah's teaching us a thief, no good Nick, right? And because it's a sheep, and he got some embarrassment. He's running through the street like a thief with a sheep on his back, right? So because of that embarrassment, he pays less. She teaches what's the point of the punishment? Atonement. He needs less atonement because he got some atonement by being embarrassed by carrying the sheep in the street that way. But the guy who took the ox didn't carry him, too heavy. So he didn't have that embarrassment, so he has to pay more to get the atonement. Wow, amazing. Reb Meir says, the Sikh from the Rebbe on this, I don't remember it now, but go see how great the power of work is. Sure, should be living an ox, and which a thief caused to desist from its work. Mishal Chamishi, you have to pay 5. It says, for a sheep, you didn't cause it to desist from work, because sheep don't do any farm work, right? You pay 4. So he gives a different reason. You stole an ox, that ox would be plowing. You took away that from the owner, you pay 5. The sheep does nothing, right? It sits in the field and eats, right? Just waiting for the slaughter. So that you only pay 4. He gives a different reason. Fascinating, fascinating. I got to remember the sikha on this. Remind me. Tachas hasem, tachas hashem, tachas hasem. In the place of the ox and place of the sheep. Shinon Akosov, the verse repeated ox and sheep. This to tell us, because sometimes we say the Torah brings these examples, but they mean other animals too. It repeats it in the verse, right? Look, it said over here, when a person stole a ox and then a sheep, and at the end of the verse it says, he has to pay for the ox and for the sheep. Why is it repeated? Only ox, only sheep, this law applies. That's what Rashi says. Okay, got it? Following, folks? You're amazing. Oh, interesting. Okay. Starting chapter 22, verse 1, new laws. 3 more psukim. If a thief is caught while breaking in, and he was struck and dies, he has no blood. He has no blood. Let's see Rashi. It comes underground passage, tunneling. He's tunneling. When he's tunneling to go into a house. Right. Only when he's tunneling to go into the house, to do the act of thievery, right? If it's clear to you the thief is not in peace with you. Oh, no, sorry. I did wrong. 1. So he is tunneling into the house. He has no blood. So if you murder that thief, he's considered dead already because he has no blood. That's what it means. He has no blood. It means that if the house owner killed him to protect him from stealing, right? Now, as we'll see, that's only if the only way you could, you're certain that that's the only way to stop him, because he might have, well, okay, let's see. Well, let's just read it inside. So the law is, if someone comes to kill you, rise up and kill him first. And this thief, he's coming to kill you. Why? Because the thief knows. A person doesn't restrain himself and remain passive when someone is coming to steal his property, when he's present. Therefore, the thief knows it, understands that he may have to kill the guy that's inside the house, right? If he's confronted by him. That he would kill him. So in other words, the Torah is giving us a principle. Someone is coming to steal, to be a thief, while someone's home. That means they know that they may be confronted by it and they would be ready to kill that person. Therefore, he has no blood. And if the only way you can stop him from what he's doing is kill him, you're clean. Now, if you could have stopped him by, if he was, and that's what he was, when he's digging to come into the house, if he was running out of the house, his back to you, you're not allowed to kill him because your life is not being threatened. He's running away. You can knock him by the legs, shoot him by the legs to stop him from going, but you can't kill him because he's not a threat to your life. When he's digging to come into your house, he's a threat to your life because he is coming there knowing that he may confront you, right? Now, Next verse, which now will modify what we just said. But if the sign shines upon him, he has blood. Shalom yishalom, pay you shall pay. Im ein loy, and if he doesn't have means, then he's sold in his theft. Okay, let's see what's going on over here. What does it mean that it's clear to you like the sun is shining on you? So Rashi explains. Sorry. The sun is shining upon him, meaning it's a euphemism, right? This is a metaphor, which means if you know that this thief is peaceful with you. How's a thief peaceful with you? Right? But let's say it's clear that he's not coming, he's not going to take your life, right? Just like the sun provides peace in the world, meaning he has no intent to kill you. So it's obvious to you that this thief is not coming to kill you, because you confronted him, right? I mean, he didn't want to come to kill you. He wanted to come to steal, but now that he's confronted, he wouldn't do that. Even when the property owner is going to stand up against him, he's not going to come in and hurt you. What does this mean? So he gives an example. Keep going. A father's coming and he's tunneling to steal from his son. Now his son confronts him. Father's not going to kill him in order to steal. Not going to do that. Now, why would you say, why would a father do that? It's irrelevant. He's giving an example. It's not relevant. Maybe the father felt that, he took something that really wasn't his. It was just his, and he was coming to take it back. That's not the point. It's irrelevant, right? Irrelevant intent of why he's doing it. The fact he's doing it. And the son knows it's his father. He knows his father's not going to kill him. Unless he knows his father hates him and they haven't talked for 10 years. Maybe that would be different, maybe, perhaps. Right? Well, again, it's a metaphor for us to understand right. In such a case, so when you know that he's not coming to take lives, so he has blood. He's considered, he's not the Walking Dead anymore. He's alive. He's considered a live person. So the owner of the house will kill him. That's called murder. Shalmi, you should surely pay. The thief. So who has to pay? Speaking with the thief now, we're going back to the thief. He has to pay that which he stole. But he's not subject to the death penalty. Uncle is Tirgim, and uncle says the sun shines upon him. If the eyes of the witness fell upon him, uncle learns it's completely different. He says, if witnesses found the thief breaking in, before the owner of the house came, now when the house owner came against him, so they warned the owner not to kill the thief. He has blood. And the owner of the house is liable for the death penalty if he kills the thief, because there are witnesses there. Because now there's thieves that are seeing the theft. Then he's not coming. He's not going to kill. He's only going to kill the homeowner because that way he gets away with the theft and no one's going to know about it. But if there's witnesses there, right? So now we know that the thief is not going to kill because there's witnesses to it. He won't do it because he's not going to get away with it. Final verse for today. And if you will find the article in his possession, the stolen article is in his possession, whether it's an ox or a donkey or Chaim, a living sheep, a living animal, Shnai Mishalim, you have to pay double. Rashi. The theft is found in his hand, Berishu in his domain. And as he didn't slaughter it, if he slaughtered it or sold it, then he has to pay 4 or 5 times, right? But if it's in his domain, he has to pay double. Whether it's an ox or a donkey, all are double payment. Whether it's a living being or not. Because in another verse it says, or Salmud there it says, a sheep or a garment, or kol aveda, or any lost article, you have to pay double. Chaim shnayim yishalim, he shall pay 2 live ones. Lo yishalem loy meisim ela chaim shadam chaim. He shall not pay for him dead ones, but rather live ones, or the value of live ones. Shh. Wow, can't believe we did it. All right. Thank you, folks. You're amazing. All right. What an amazing day. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.